Hey friends, TUXX here. I've been getting more and more questions about 3.5, which is this guy right here, this end, versus 4.4, which is this end right here, okay? So I wanted to just do a quick little basics video of what is 4.4, and maybe that might help answer a few questions, and then maybe determine if it's something that you want to look further into and go further down the rabbit hole, if you will, of 4.4, or if you're like, it's okay. But there is some pretty dramatic differences and some reasons why you may just want to ditch the normal 3.5 jack for the 4.4 jack, okay? So first off, you have to have a player that plays 4.4. So a lot of my DApps only have 3.5, but some of them, like this one right here, has two actual different size holes, okay? And in this case, it is the 3.5 and 4.4. Some of them, like my Astronaut Current Alpha, has actually three different holes on the top for another one too, but we'll save that for another video, okay? The two most popular formats are 3.5 and 4.4, okay? And so if you're thinking about it, like why would you care, okay? You might hear a term frequently in videos about 4.4 of TR, that's a tip versus ring, okay? And so you can see in this one right here, you're pretty much used to that having like, a tip, a ring, it's like left and right channel, ground, that kind of thing. And this one right here, you'll notice it has more. There's many more. It looks like some kind of weird little caterpillar or something. And that's because this has a dedicated left versus right. And this one shares a little bit of the wire work amongst those two signals, okay? And what makes a difference with that is the fact that you can actually have like a dedicated left and right amp, pushing more power than what you would have through one that shares a little bit, because when it shares a little bit, that can make electric noise. It can create other problems electronically that would make the manufacturer maybe want to make it not quite as powerful, to have better quality versus like better power, and that's a difference. That is definitely different from this generation of DAP players compared to back to the cassette Walkmans back in the day, that kind of thing. But even those were pretty much 3.5s, and so 3.5 is the most popular format for sure. But 4.4 is something which is really catching on a lot, okay? There's some other benefits to 4.4 besides the more power and less digital noise, if you will, is the fact that you have two truly dedicated wires. Like think of when you're plugging speakers into your home stereo back in the day. If you had a big stereo, there's a left cord and a right cord. It had a dedicated line for each of them. Okay, so that creates a better division, a better sound field for left versus right. From an aesthetic standpoint, this looks a little beefier, and when it actually clicks into the hole here, it has a little bit more authoritative click. It feels a little more solid than this one right here. So if you had even a smaller plug, it would feel even like a little bit less. And that doesn't feel bad by any means, but I have heard of some players sometimes having problems with the 3.5 millimeter jack kind of becoming loose and having issues or whatever. And that's why 4.4 in some ways is superior on that front as well. To recap, the difference of 3.5 versus 4.4 really has to do with that extra channel of sound. And it actually has the number of tip versus rings we have in here versus this one right here. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can get some amazing sound out of 3.5, but when you start getting into the 4.4 category, it lays the groundwork, the wire work, to have even more stellar experiences with sound. And also, if the player does have a dedicated amp, it can have a dedicated power for left versus right, making it even more true to like a big home stereo or something. And that can actually help create a better sound field for you. So it's worth it, guys. It's worth looking into at least. If you guys have further questions about 3.5 versus 4.4, let me know. I mean, I'd almost go as far as saying shame, but I use a lot of 3.5 too, but the 4.4 is definitely louder. I would say about 20% louder. So for DAPs that have some kind of limiter on it, like a World Health Organization sound limiter, like the Sony NWA306. If it does have that limiter on there, this will get about 20% more power, so that can make the difference between sounding a little bit light and sounding like dramatic, and if you have high ohm audiophile headphones, you probably need that 4.4, or a headphone amp, or both even, okay? All right, guys, if you have any questions, please reach out to me, tuxtoys@gmail.com. That is the basics for you. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. I'll have some links for you down below, okay? Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Click the links.